amount of people that knew anything about this was so tiny, and yet now this is a really major moment. This, not just here, but in the way that the knowledge of this organisation's got out, because they're coming out of the shadows, and this is such a wonderful symbolic part of the web, because it's a point that people can relate to. If you go deep in the rabbit hole, where they're talking, you're talking about things that people are going, he said what? That's another thing. But this is a point that people can relate to, because what it is simply, what we've been saying all these years is, if you look at the corporations and the banks and the governments, the political parties, in the end, they're all controlled by the same people. They're different masks on the same face. And here we have the absolute living proof of that this weekend in that hotel, where, I mean, what's the point of having lobby laws when the buggers get on the same roof? But this is a wake-up call for a lot of people. I know it is, from people that I've talked to this week. It's like, what do you mean they're meeting in secret? What are they doing? And this is why the genie will never go back in the bottle. A lot of people are going to start to open their minds to the world being very different to what they thought it was, because of this thing this weekend.
What are you going to speak about tomorrow night?
Oh, I think I'm going to speak about loads of things. Whatever comes into my mind. But
how are you going to keep it under 13 hours,
loads
David?
Of things. Yeah, well, that's the point. See, I've had the crystal healing, and I've had the hands-on healing, but I can't shift this verbal diarrhea. That's the truth. I can't.
No, it's not diarrhea, man.
So yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of things I like to say, because you can put this into a much bigger context of what's happening today. Because this do I? No. But anyway, I don't know how to hold one of those. All right. Alex is the expert on the megaphone. But I'm going to come here tomorrow. I'll be here most of the day tomorrow. So and then I'm going to talk at some length, if people want me to talk at some length, about this stuff and the context that this can be put into on a wider way. It's just a great moment. I just hope that loads and loads of people turn up here tomorrow and make a statement. We ain't having it anymore, because this is a really major opportunity we're looking at here.
Well, it's already been a big defeat. There's probably 20 times the coverage has ever been. Yeah. They're having to admit it, and the mainstream media used to try to deny this even existed. So how big of a defeat is that for them? Well, I mean, I see this as a real turning point.
The thing is, if it stopped now and we all went home, we've made massive strides in the last few days. Just in the mainstream media acknowledgement of the fact that it exists. But if we can get a lot of people here tomorrow, we can make a massive statement.
Well, we've got to work now on getting the police to not misdirect people, because they did that to us when we were on the other side of it. They kept saying, go on down the road a little more, and then down the road, and then I was like 3 miles away trying to walk back. That's what they're doing to everybody.
Well, it's just like I said to the guy who was doing his kind of, thing with his stick and stuff when you come in, the old security. I said, what's happening here is the prisoners are policing the prison, but they can't see it. But that's a thing, an area we have to get to, and that is to get those in uniform and the dark suits that administer it and don't know that what they're doing, and the fact that their children and grandchildren are in the gun sight as well, to realise that they shouldn't be protecting them from us, they should be protecting us from them. Yeah. That's what they should be doing. That's the dynamic, but they don't. This is the way it works. And what we've got here is a real symbolism is very powerful. And what we've got here is a symbol of the world, because what they want to create is a Hunger Games type world in which you have a tiny few that are unbelievably mega rich. And you think you'd go from poor through what they call middle class to rich. If you look at the graphs now, it's going down there and then suddenly whoop with the 1%. And in some of the graphs, they are so rich that it actually goes off the page and they have to put the top of the graph next to it. And this is what they want. They want a society in which there is a mega rich, and everyone else is mega poor. And in the middle of that are the dark suit administrators and the uniforms to administer the 1% agenda on the mega poor masses. So here we have a situation here where you've got 140 people meeting there. You've got a ring of steel around them, so they are cut off from us, exactly what the Hunger Games society is supposed to be. And then you've got the uniforms administering that and protecting that from the mass of the people. That is precisely the dynamic that they want that global society.
And that's why they're engineering it to make us poor in their own Agenda 21 so that they can then control the services and make us beg for crumbs. And they brag about this. In fact, a few years ago, they openly said we want to make people so poor they can't come protest us.
Well, this is the point, you know, because we're going to go do this interview now, but I'll be here tomorrow. But this is the point of what's going on economically. What they've done is crash the economy in 2008 and done it on purpose. And then they started a massive, phenomenal, unprecedented transfer of wealth from the mass of the people to this elite through the banking system. So, first stage of that was crash the banking system, and then you get governments to bail out the banks. Now it's a banking problem has become a government problem. The next stage of that, and this is what Cyprus was all about, was to go into a point where, having taken the banking problem and into a government problem, you then pass it on, this is what's happening now, to the people as an austerity problem. And so this transfer of wealth is going from banks, from the banking system, or to the banking system, through government, from the people. People, government, banks. Cyprus was about going to the next stage of that and not even going through governments to steal from the people, but going direct into their bloody bank accounts. And the point being, the power of precedent is massive. And having set it in Cyprus, then when the next banking crisis comes, and it's all planned, of course, it'll be discussed in there over the weekend, possibly now, they are going to say, well, hold on a second. We can't, governments, bail out the banks anymore. Well, what about the people of Cyprus? We can't let them have their, money taken from their bank account and then say that it's not happening elsewhere. This is what the European Union is going to say. And therefore, the idea is to transfer wealth, not just via governments to the banks and the elite, but actually from bank accounts alone. And the point is, and I'll say this to anyone who wants to listen, who has got lots of money now, and thinks, well, I'm all right, Jack, never mind what's happening in bloody Watford and what those people are doing.
They're going to devalue it.
What they've got to understand, these people now who are seriously rich, if you are not part of this network, they want your money too. So we're in this together. And if they divide and rule us by saying, well, it's not my problem, or it's not my problem, and then suddenly knock, 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 can I talk to you, sir? Well, it is your problem. But all the people that could have stood by your side have already been picked off while you were looking the other way. This is why we need to come together. Because if you're not part of this elite, they want your money. They want your poor. And this is a massive, massive moment. I think tomorrow could be one of the days that we look back and say, that's the time.
The world woke up.
That's the time.